Hello everyone, my name's Nathan and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, I'm Alex Maxwell, and I don't like the Reeves Gun!
And I'm Max Phillips, and it's my birthday!
Hey, not when we release it.
No,
No, now.
today it is.
This is how I'm spending my birthday.
On the date of recording.
Yeah,
Sunday.
the big
Sunday.
2-5.
Sunday.
Sunday, the Sunday of Sunday. Like, do
Yep.
we say a full date of birth? Probably
I mean,
not.
it's probably not an issue, really, but
Nah, it's fine. Nobody steals his identity from that
Yeah.
information.
if you want my identity, go for it.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. It's miserable.
There's not
living
much
like this.
taking.
Yeah, this
You
is
can
like
do
the
this
highlight of my
podcast.
week. I'm
I was
doing
got-
this on my birthday. How shit is my life, you know?
Wow, rude. I mean, that's similar. I once got contacted by the fraud team by my bank, and they were like, hey, we had some strange transactions happening on your account. We just wanted to double check it was you. I was like, okay, what was it? And they were like, someone tried to spend £200 at Next online on furniture. I was like, not me. And I was like, and so like, have I lost any money? They're like, no, you didn't have enough in your account. So
Brilliant.
I was like,
Brilliant.
fantastic.
Amazing.
Well, yeah, as soon as they probably knew, as soon as they saw it was furniture and saw that you didn't have enough in your account, they were like, well, this guy's clearly not bought this furniture.
No, he's not in a position to be buying furniture.
Yeah,
At
but
that- this was
that's
years
not
ago.
that's not even just it. Not because you're not in a position to, but just because like you were clearly like a student.
Yeah.
Like, only students have that much money in their account.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, that's we've never started on informalities before. That was quite nice.
Yeah.
It
You
was.
carry on. How
It's
are
not
you?
a bit
How you
fun.
both?
Yeah,
Wait,
we don't need to go that far.
All right,
Yeah.
fair enough. Yeah, good. Keep it professional.
Yeah.
We know how
Get
we
onto
are.
the notes. So, as you may remember, if you watched, which you know probably did, we only get like 5 viewers.
Thanks for sticking by.
We're
Us.
doing a little series we're calling Film Club at the minute, which one of us picks a film that none of us have seen, and we all talk about it on the podcast. So last week, Nathan had a fantastic pick with Mulholland Drive, one that has a lot of cinema discourse around it, sort of very well known and highly revered, interesting film. And this week, Alex is.
Thanks for rubbing it in there, dude.
Alex has pulled something out of his arse and picked a random film because
Because they didn't like my original idea.
Because Martin Scorsese mentioned it once on a masterclass trailer that he watched. He didn't
Yeah.
even pay for it. He saw it on an advert.
Well, I'd like to take this moment to defend myself. Bear in mind, last week Nathan had picked Mulholland Drive, didn't know anything about it, started it, said I didn't want to keep watching it, and was told, just do it anyway. It's for the podcast. And
Yeah.
they're like, you can pick any film you like. Now, Max, being the pain in the ass film nerd that he is, any decent film that I suggested, he'd already seen. Well, yeah, look at him. He's like, yeah, it's true.
I
have."
did
What
that.
can I say? I'm a buff.
Okay. So I ended up literally just scrolling through Netflix and found something semi-interesting, maybe, and I got so much shit for it. And so I swapped it out last minute for a black and white film because I thought they'd like that.
Yeah, they were so
Turns out
transparent
they didn't,
what you were doing.
I didn't. It sucked.
Okay, I wouldn't
But-
go as far as it
Well,
sucked.
no, it didn't. It
was
didn't
just
No.
suck.
Well, no, it probably
Yeah,
did. But
well, okay.
It wasn't great.
But it did present some interesting talking points, and for a while now, I have been wanting to do a podcast on classic versus contemporary cinema. So I was like, I'll squeeze in some stuff that I want to talk about there, and maybe even though this is called Film Club, and we're talking about a particular film. Last week we very much focused on Mulholland Drive the whole time. I imagine this time it'll be a bit divergent into other films and other
No,
people.
no. I
only
refuse.
this.
Let's just talk about this one and get it done in 20
Alcoholism
minutes.
and the Reeves Gun.
And
Tin Legs
sexism.
and Susan.
So yeah,
That's
so
the
for,
film.
for episode 13, we are talking about character study of a man broken by war with an enabler, neighbor slash
Mistress.
lover slash
She's a bit of a
mistress, and then the film randomly turns war retro Hurt Locker film,
Yep.
and it's called The Small Back Room.
Backroom.
Back Room.
Yeah.
See, instantly forgettable.
Yeah.
so
it was.
literally don't even know
but-
the name.
but we did watch it all, which I
Yeah.
mean, fair game to us because
I
as soon
just
as
finished watching it.
I did a bit of research on it before I started watching it,
Mhm.
and was like, oh, there's like nothing on this
Yeah.
anywhere. No one knows what this is. This should be fucking great. Okay, we're gonna watch some random old film. Went on blackandwhitemovies.com and it was just there.
Yeah.
So
I didn't
it
know
was
that
nice and
existed.
easy to watch. Neither
Yeah.
did I.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I have an
Handy little
interesting
archive.
fact about it, although I can't
Go on.
remember what it
It's
is. It's not. I have to look it up now. It's not called The Small Back Room in
No.
America. It was released as Hour of Glory.
Oh,
I don't
That
know
sounds,
why they're called
very-
either of those things, to be
yeah,
honest.
no.
No.
That sounds very.
The small back
hippery.
room makes sense because like their team works in this. They're called the backroom boys because they're kind of
Backroom
like this,
boys.
Yes.
Yeah, the backroom boys.
Look at
Do you
here,
remember when-
she.
Do you remember when we did the whole old timey voice thing?
Yeah,
That's very-
yeah,
That's
applicable
this
now.
film,
yeah. That is.
Yeah,
this
no,
film.
it is.
but British.
Yeah, our TikTok that we made is
Wow.
that.
Don't tell
But-
them.
It's about this.
So,
Don't tell them about that. That's embarrassing. That's just for fun.
And this isn't.
Jeez. True.
Jeez Louise.
Jeez Louise.
So I know we briefly covered it, but I was just so intrigued as to why you chose it. Was it
Yeah.
literally just the pressure of I need to pick something that's they'll approve of?
I
'Cause
think
for-
it's important to let the audience know that Max and Nathan, though they are two of my best friends in the world, are assholes.
Yeah.
And and the amount of shit that I was getting.
Okay,
and
can we just talk through your first pick? Because it was.
Yeah,
You
My
told us
first-
how
my
you
first
got.
pick
Okay, not your
was the
first,
first-
pick.
pick.
The group of picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had a list of a few which sounded interesting, but we couldn't find
Yeah.
them anywhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
So you
that's,
just went.
that's another roadblock that
Yeah,
we ran
yeah.
into.
Well, I mean,
was-
last week it was on BFI Player. We couldn't
Yeah.
find it
Yeah,
anywhere
Had
else.
to get our free trial
Yeah.
to the. Ours has run out,
Yeah.
by the way. I got the email.
yeah,
Yeah,
so-
I don't worry, I cancelled it.
So-
But for the pick that we were gonna watch until me and Max complained about it was just off your list on Netflix. It was just like
that wasn't even on my
some-
list.
Was it
It wasn't even on my list.
run of the mill random ass film, which
Well,
is fine. Like
I actually might still
think
watch
it
it.
may again like fair game. It might be just a a film you just whack on, which
Mm.
is fair game. Like I'm like we've said on the podcast
Oh, for
before,
that,
like what
yeah.
you want to like. It doesn't matter. But
Mm.
when you've got to talk about it for an hour,
yeah.
I was
It's
like,
an hour.
it's an hour. Maybe not some random fucking film with Glenn Close in it. Who,
Well-
I did it. I only read the biop.
Yeah.
But
I
does
watched
she
the trailer.
play 6 characters?
No,
Close
Glenn
in it?
Close doesn't play 6 characters.
Right, so
So
she's
the
not
film
the
is
sibling.
that film is called What Happened to Monday, and it's based in a world what siblings are banned to sort out overpopulation. So you're kind of in this, I guess, what's the word? Not post-apocalyptic. I don't care. You're in this society. We live in a society
Yeah.
Yeah.
where siblings are banned, and it's heavily enforced. And if they find siblings, I think they just kill them, no matter what age. Genuinely,
She's
Um,
so fucking dumb.
right? Right?
That's like a
But-
bad child, Children of Men.
Yeah. Yeah. Essentially. Glenn
But
Close
do they
plays
still have this scene
like
in
the
Children of
president.
Men where he carries the baby out from the hospital, but it's like a full-grown man, and everyone just stops fighting. They're like, a
But, like,
twin.
Glenn Close plays like the bad guy, which I thought for a start would be interesting to see her in that role. Like she plays such a vast variety
Yeah,
of roles.
she's never done it before. Cruella DeVille.
No, but
Oh,
you know,
don't ruin this
different
for him.
type of villain.
Yeah.
And then there's these 7. It's like septuplets,
Mm.
clearly played by the same person, and
Yeah.
then they basically get a day of the week that they can go out into the world and they share a persona.
And Monday
But their
goes
actual
missing.
names are Monday, Tuesday, but Monday goes missing. So what
That's the
happened to
title.
Monday? And then it's this big action film, and I thought
Okay.
it could be fun to just watch a stupid action film. But no, I got that. That looks actively bad.
Here's the thing.
No, I
right,
said it was
that-
bang average.
Yeah, that's
Bang
the thing.
average,
It looks
actively bad.
average. And the thing is, for that, it could be good to watch for when we're all together and we can do funny reactions watching it together at something that's really stupid.
Stay
But
tuned
for us
that.
to like meet up and then do like a nice little hello everybody, welcome to our podcast. Today we're going to be talking about what happened to Monday. No,
Well, now we have this.
Yeah,
So-
this was kind
The
of our
pressure. The
mistake.
pressure. I cracked under the pressure
you cracked under the pressure like nobody
Yesterday.
ever has before.
yesterday. I picked
This is like,
film yesterday.
you know when people like fuck it in a race and they like immediately fall over and ruin their race. This is like you shat your pants in the changing rooms and didn't even make it onto track.
Oh my god.
It was like this
Yeah.
morning. You were like, "So guys, did either of you watch the film?" We're like, "No." Okay, right.
Yeah.
Don't watch it. Oh no, was it yesterday? I
It was yesterday. It's like, have you
Yesterday.
watched it yet?
Right.
No, I haven't. Okay, watch this instead.
watched something else. Yeah.
And can I just say, so I was out. The reason we're recording this on a Sunday, which is a bit different, normally we record it on a Saturday, was because my sort of birthday day, now things are open back up in England a bit more. I went into Manchester yesterday and had a full day on the sesh,
Woo.
so we couldn't record. But I had planned to watch the film when I got back. And fuck me, I'm so glad I didn't. I watched it this morning. But if I'd
Can
have
you
been...
imagine? There's a
very
particular
pissed.
sequence as well that's just so fucking surreal and
Yeah.
weird out of nowhere
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole
Can you
film is
imagine watching
relatively
that?
normal.
in your state.
Yeah, I would have like lost my mind.
Yeah. That would be
Um,
fucking hilarious.
So yeah, I mean, we might as well get into it because I
Let's go
think there
for
are interesting things to talk about with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even if it is random as hell.
Yeah.
Which is just I'll never stop laughing about it. It's
The
so
best
funny.
bit as well-
It's so Alex.
I'm not a huge fan. I know you were going to ask this. I think it's important to state as well. I
Yeah.
fully picked this for them.
Yeah.
Purely because I thought, it's black and white. Scorsese liked 2 shots at the beginning.
Mhm.
I'm not the biggest fan of classical cinema, to
Yeah.
put it lightly. I like the developments that cinema have had, and I think it's like if you play like all, I know this is a weird analogy. If you played all of the Assassin's Creed games and then you go back to the first one, that first one fucking
Yeah, okay.
sucks. But it was amazing at the time.
Well, the
So I
funny
know
thing
that it
is,
has its place, but I like watching what we have now.
I totally get the logic.
More
I totally
classical-
get it.
classical
previous.
Hollywood cinema definitely has a similar vibe to it.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
that kind of era is very. You can tell when you're watching something from classical Hollywood.
I
Um,
find it to be performative rather than immersive.
It's very theatrical.
Yeah.
is the
Like
way
watching
I
a
would
play.
put it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is watching a play basically.
Well, it's because they'd come out of the talkies had pretty much started,
Yeah.
and the silent film stars that were in the films before them were very much sort of clowns for the
Mhm.
popular films because that's what
Like
popular.
Piero.
Yeah, so it was very physical.
yeah.
So then when the talkies came in, they all found themselves out of work because they were like, they'd all be like, "Hey, this is my voice. How you doing, buddy?" And they were like, "Yeah, we don't want you as our leading man."
No, there's
So
some nuance.
they just went to theatre. All the actors that then came in were classically trained and being like, that very classical Laurence Olivier
Mm.
type, which has its place, and I find it interesting in a way because like I say, it's like watching theatre, but it's watching it on screen. Which, incidentally, a film like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom that came out last year is exactly the same thing. It's a theatre play put to in a
screen.
film, but I
Mm.
don't really love it.
Well,
I think
it's one of the
it's very
building
good,
blocks
but
of cinema.
But I like
It-
it in
yeah.
classical. Is what I'm saying.
It needed to happen to be where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it
I mean,
has
there's
its
still
place.
points of it in contemporary cinema.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Simple, just like dialogue scenes. They haven't particularly changed in terms of form.
Yeah.
The way they're shot is definitely different, but in terms of
Exactly.
like styling and writing, it's very similar. Like my example is always going to be through this entire podcast. You probably get sick of it. It's Casablanca because Casablanca is my favorite film, and it's of the same period as 1942.
this was 53.
Is this 53?
I
No,
believe
this
so.
was 49.
This is 40.
What was it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I saw it,
Anyway.
it said 53. Maybe it's
The-
different.
That's going to be my frame of reference because it is just
that
like
was
such
Hopper's reference, by the way.
Okay,
was
I
it?
didn't hear it.
They thought it was 53.
Oh yeah.
Okay. But interestingly, kind of talking about kind of classic film and it being very theatrical,
Mhm.
and I think an expectation I have from the classic films that I've seen is I expect a lot of ham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's actually something, I mean, I was actually pleasantly surprised. Don't get me wrong, this film had its fair share of ham.
Yeah,
a lot of the
but you were
performance-
expecting like the "Oh Sammy, why don't you love me so?"
Yeah. And it's like,
Yeah.
I do.
Although
And
there
the
is like a
kids.
weird bit where he calls her a bitch and there's like a drum snare.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was really weird.
Yeah, I think there's one later on where it's like he goes to say like motherfucker and like gulls start to
Yeah.
cry.
Yeah, I noticed that one.
But I actually was pretty impressed by the acting. There was a fair
Yeah.
bit of nuance, not with
Yeah.
everyone. And don't get me wrong, it's there's a lot of character archetypes. in this
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
It's very noticeable.
And some of them are bad. Like some of them,
Yeah.
like some of the
Mm.
actors in this are bad, but they're playing small roles. I will say the leading man, who I did not look up his name, Hollywood has forgotten him. So
Sorry.
fuck him. Sorry, mate.
So, dude,
Was I thought very good at playing the understated thing, and I thought he was actually, like you say, interesting and different for Hollywood. And then that all
Yeah.
went out the
Yeah.
fucking window as right towards the end when he has to play drunk guy, and he was bad. Like he was hard to
Yeah.
watch.
really?
Yeah,
the bit where
I
he was
thought
like
so.
singing to himself.
Next to
Right.
it and give me a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, it's
Next to it.
ridiculous.
Give me a drink. I have to disagree to a point. I think it could be because I've seen so much bad drunk acting.
Yeah.
Because I think people need to stop writing it into scripts that someone's drunk. Because acting drunk never plays well.
Mm.
You get people. I'm not even
I'm
drunk.
fine.
Totally fine.
I haven't even drunk a drip. What?
Yeah.
And it's just cringe. You're like, no. I thought this wasn't one of the worst drunk performances that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I did laugh out loud after the sort of the night terror scene that he has with the giant bottle of whiskey and all the
Giant
clocks
whiskey.
and stuff. And then, what's her name? The leading lady? What's she called?
Susan.
Sue.
Sue. Big Sue.
Big
Comes
Sue.
Big Sue.
Comes back in the morning, and then the guy's reaction, he just goes, "Where were you? This is all your fault," and storms out.
Yeah.
It's like,
Why didn't you
what
stop me
just
drinking?
happened?
She was
Why
like,
didn't you just stop me?
where were you going? He was like, I don't know. And she was like, to a woman? Maybe. Like,
Why not me?
not indicated that there was
Yeah.
ever another woman anyway.
No.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, that's the thing I felt with quite a lot of this film. It was like things were.
I dropped stuff. Sorry.
Oh,
go on.
okay. It was like things kind of. They were
Happen.
happening without like the explanation of how they like the so in the end scene where, like, where he goes to disarm the bomb and he's like meeting all these people, it's like, oh, it's really nice to meet you, like, oh, like they've known each other for quite a long time, it's like, oh, it's good to see you. You're like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Where did they come from?
For a bit, I was like, is this a flashback as to how he, lost his leg or hurt his leg? It's not.
Yeah.
I'm still not 100% on what happened with the leg.
Yeah, I
He
don't
has a
think
tin
we know.
leg, by the way.
Yeah,
Tin
yeah.
leg, yeah.
I think
That's
lost.
important.
Yeah, cool. And it hurts to have on.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I mean, I can't do this.
Yeah,
'cause
you're not an
I have
amputee.
I have no perspective. But to me, that seems bonkers because he's like constantly like, he's like, take it off, take off the leg. Why does it hurt you so?
Why do you only take it off when you're by yourself?
Yeah,
Not me.
and she's right. When he's just like home, just lay on the couch, she's like, take your leg off. You're clearly in pain, and he's like,
Yeah.
No.
I must suffer.
Well,
But
that-
again, it's not explained like why. Like I could understand if it was like, I know, old Tommy that I defused the bomb with didn't have a chance to take his leg off. He lost his life. I could understand that.
Yeah.
Like he tortures himself over it, but no,
Yeah.
he just for no reason
For
at
no
all.
reason, yeah.
He's
Yeah.
just like, no, I must keep on this leg. Also, I
It's
just
very
keep
strange.
doing, and I keep doing so many different accents. I have no idea what the hell's going on.
It's very
that
British.
one was like
Yeah.
old school, like deep South American. Like I
Yeah.
keep on my leg. It hurt me so.
I think that you've drawn on a point. It's like, take off your leg. No. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that. There's a lot of like
So
questions or like statements that are just answered with yeah. Or
It's so funny. It's
I feel like
literally so funny.
care to elaborate for the
Like,
sake of art,
no.
I guess.
Like we
No.
were saying in the conversation before we started recording, and the scene when he defuses the bomb at the end, it's this really and actually it's one of the few scenes in the film that I found very engaging and was like, oh, this is building up quite nicely. Like, what's it leading to? And then he defuses the bomb, and you're like, oh, here we go. And then the guy goes, "Is it done?" Yeah. That's it.
And then lying back
Yeah.
on
I'm gonna lie
pebbles.
back. Look at the birds.
Like the pet that he was saying were really uncomfortable like 2 minutes ago. He's gonna lie on the pebbles.
Damn these
Right,
pebbles, I think was the line.
Yeah.
But relayed by the
By
lady
her.
But
listening.
also,
Yeah.
so he randomly collapses midway through the bomb, which
Yes.
is weird anyway. And then
Yeah.
a guy rightly comes over to make sure he's okay, and he just gets up out of nowhere. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Stay where you are.
Yeah, stay where you are.
Well, the thing is,
don't
what they were
don't
saying.
move, because if I hit this, it will explode. And it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? I don't think he was coming over to you.
Don't hit it then.
He wasn't going to come over and
Basically.
just start smacking up the bomb and
The
like,
thing
you
is,
know.
so I feel like it was a very, and it was adapted from a book, so maybe the book's different. I'm not entirely sure, but it seemed
hope
it was
so.
a very classical Hollywood film, whereas you have an older male lead,
Yeah.
younger female lead. The male lead is like this world weary, tired of everyone's shit, doesn't take anything.
yeah.
I'm happy to die
Very,
whenever. Like
very
kind of
stoic.
yeah, like a very typical kind of character for that era.
I'm a
It was-
man's man. I drink
we
whiskey
never-
and I take my dope.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
never understood why, and that bit where he's like, I could hit this bomb and kill us both, basically, is never
Yeah.
like
Fun.
it could be good, but it was never explained that he's kind of tired of life. It was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like, I don't like my leg. I don't know why I'm doing an American accent as well.
I don't like my
I
leg.
don't like my leg.
My leg.
my leg,
My leg.
my leg.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
but
think-
like a lot of the character development is just not
Of which there
developed.
is
It's just
some.
there. It's just like he's now this thing for some reason.
yeah.
Things
I think
just
the
happen.
story.
Yeah.
That's it. The I think the premise of the film is put across in the synopsis is the Germans are dropping these booby trap bombs,
Yeah.
and it's
Killing
like this
children and
man's
stuff.
job to figure out why and how to stop it.
Mm.
And that's very it's barely in the film. It
Yeah,
takes.
yeah.
I
It's,
wrote down how long it took. It takes nearly 40 minutes to get from the setup of the booby trap storyline for him to get to one of the bombs. It's an hour 40 film. Takes
Yeah.
40 minutes from him being told this is happening, come help, and 40 minutes of other stuff.
The Reeves gun. The Reeves
Reeves
gun is the
gun.
main plot for most of the film.
Yeah, and
Like,
don't-
he
like
goes
that
and
seems to
visits it.
be that seems to be.
It's setting up his expertise,
I guess.
I think.
It
For like the
seems to-
rest of the film to be like, this guy knows what he's talking about, so like we should trust him for when he does defuse the bomb, I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
initially, I've kind of read into it as this is a dialogue about kind of how things actually were during the war, and like if that was the film, that would be more interesting, I think, because it's looking at the ineptitude of the higher ups who have no idea. Like you have the minister who comes into their office
Hmm.
and they set up a fake experiment to be flashy, knowing that he has not a clue. He
Mhm.
gets all hyped up about like it's this stereotypical, very RP minister who's like, oh yes, jolly
Yeah.
good. Look at this calculator, calculating machine. And it's and you've got that, and then you've got the advice from the actual generals who are going to be fighting with the equipment that they're basically trying to sign off on this new gun.
Yeah.
And he's part of an external team who are saying whether or not the gun should go ahead. And there is kind of this moment within it where he kind of stands up to his own bosses and who are looking to make the sale.
One of
And
which has
says-
an eye patch, by the way.
Yeah, One of the generals has an eye patch. The general doesn't like the gun and says this gun isn't fit for purpose.
I feel like there's a rule for like every film pre-1960 that one guy has to have an eye patch.
Gotta have it. But I mean, that is that conversation. And him standing up, like that, he could be the hero of that story, standing up and saying, this gun shouldn't go forward.
Yeah.
And it shows the business of war, which was surprising to me, given when it was made. And
well, exactly.
It starts off with this very anti-German kind of messaging. It's like, oh, the Jerrys are bad. They're kid-killing sneaky bastards. But then they actually hold up a mirror to Britain as well. And I thought, okay, this is quite interesting. This is the film I want to watch.
That story was dropped pretty much straight after that.
Straight away. He goes, no, the gun's not very good. Don't do it. And they go, okay.
Okay.
And then his boss is like, what'd you do that for? And he's like, 'cause. And his boss goes, okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Then we go back to the bomb thing. The guy, Stuart, who brings the whole situation to him in the first place, is tragically killed trying to disarm one of these bombs. We've seen him twice. And somehow it's still disappointing that we only hear of his death off screen.
Yeah.
It's just things happening. There's so much potential for a much better film.
Yeah.
If they chose a storyline.
The most interesting part of it to me was that weird whiskey scene.
Yes.
Because I got to that bit. One, I was like, why is this here? Like these these shots had never happened previously.
When it first starts out that bit as well, it feels like it's very like Hitchcockian, like with the clock when it's one clock, when it's just one clock ticking.
And then there's like when it gets bigger and bigger, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then this massive bottle of whiskey. I'm like,
and he's
almost felt like a bad.
It's coming towards me. It's coming towards me. The big whiskey.
It genuinely felt like a bad advert. But again, like at the beginning of that sequence, I was like, okay, this is quite interesting. Like there's the ticking of the clock, which has kind of gone from diegetic to non-diegetic. It's now in his head, and it's like both reminiscent of the fuse of a bomb because that's what's on his mind, but it's also like that incessant nagging of addiction. And it's also like the first time we hear this random. Now we have a motif for when we see whiskey. This weird kind of
the theremin.
Thing. Yeah, that was odd. But then I was like, okay, this is interesting. Then the clock gets bigger, and then there's like a wall of clocks, and it becomes this kind of Dali
surrealist,
very surreal sequence. And I'm like, well, this is interesting.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Why is it here?
Yeah,
for a start.
Exactly.
But that's again reminiscent of kind of old Hollywood. You look at things like, I mean, Singing in the Rain has the Broadway ballet sequence. It seemed to be this thing where in this story, we now have this very stylized section. For seemingly no reason.
Well, that's one of the things I found interesting about this is because it's a period of cinema history that just doesn't get talked about because when you think back to like the classic ones that inspired people, they're the best of the best and they're good all the way through them. So you've got like Hitchcock and like Fritz Lang, classic very good auteur directors who just very obviously inspired people with a whole project, whereas films like this had things where they just laid the little seeds for people like Martin Scorsese to go, I like that little part of it. And then, so, because as is everything, like when we're doing it now, you have your big inspirations and your little ones. And that was the same for, directors when they were younger in the 40s and 60s.
So weird with this film is that I can see how it would inspire visuals, but in only 2 shots. Or 2 sequences. The opening, where it's like a Dutch angle on a traffic light, and it goes like through the sequence. I was like, that was the taxi driver shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, that. I was like, the windscreen wipers.
Yeah,
I don't know why I have to do that every time I say
sequence,
windscreen wipers.
I was like, this sequence is really interesting.
Yeah,
and then the same for the whiskey one, because you had said so. The rationale behind this film that we were given from Alex was that it inspired Martin Scorsese.
That's what he told us.
That's what he told us visually. visually it was. So we were obviously looking for, cinematography, some standout sequences and how they were shot. No, it was pretty.
Yeah.
It was boring.
It was those two shots.
It was just a lot of
For the first 10 minutes,
shots,
it was
close-ups.
just static. It was purely
Yeah.
static shots. I
Mhm.
wrote that down, and then they started panning a bit. And doing some
There was a
graphic
really cool shot where they moved in between two sets and they moved through a doorway and the camera pushes through. And I thought that was super cool. Why are they not like doing this more? Because it was clearly when you think of sets now, and especially old Hollywood sets, it would have been two big sound stages.
Yeah.
And then this doorway will have been crafted to have a camera fit right through it.
Mm.
And it was just, it moved so nicely with the shot. And I was like, oh, that was so good. And then it's just right back to statics. And I was
there
like,
was one.
oh, come on. You're teasing us.
You're kind of
Yeah.
right in saying that about like big influences and little influences, because there was the dialogue scene in the club when they're talking, and I mean it's really weird because they're talking as if they're doing like an over the shoulder kind of thing. So they're talking just off camera, but they're sat right next to each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was that was really weird, but I found the panning between the two characters quite visually interesting. But
Yeah.
the way they pulled it off was by them looking just off camera, even though they're sat like literally right next to them. So they would talk and then look at them sat next to them as it pans around. It was just really awkward.
Yeah.
But that,
It's almost like
that's-
this. It's almost like, and don't get me wrong, I do love SNL, but when they do their skits, like the eye lines in SNL sketches
Yeah, yeah.
are so weird. They're
Yeah.
like talking to each other, but clearly not looking at each other at all. Because
Yeah.
obviously, I
Yeah.
think they're on teleprompters, right?
auto cues, yeah.
Yeah.
They have boards.
They actually have boards.
Yeah, they still. It's like one of those things. Like we've always done it. We just stick with it.
Yeah.
So it's-
Yeah. Fair enough. But that it is kind of that. Okay, this is visually interesting, but huh?
Yeah.
Basically, this was not a film that you needed
Correct.
to wrap your. This is not a film. Last week we watched Mulholland Drive, and that was kind of a brain squasher. This wasn't. This had a very very basic story that was so basic they needed to cram in another story
Mm-hmm.
that fell away immediately.
Yeah, it wasn't even like an A and a B story. It was like an A and an A story that would just
Half told.
Yeah. I would have liked to
together.
follow the C story that they didn't follow of the guy. I can't remember his name, but the guy, the first booby trap guy, who he asks about his wife.
Oh,
and
that
why
was
he's having
so
problems,
funny.
Why he's having problems at home.
Yeah.
And then the reason he gives is because he can't go home 5 minutes earlier every day, and it's like your marriage is falling apart because of that.
Well, I don't know if it's I don't know if it's connected. I might be just connecting dots that don't exist. But
Mm.
previous in the film, he says something about I can't do a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always have this arrangement on a Wednesday, and that's going to dinner with his girlfriend
Yep.
person. And then kind of the guy he's
Yeah.
talking to is like, when do you need the time off? Like he's basically saying, can I leave
Yeah,
earlier
yeah.
to spend more time with my wife? And
Yeah.
he was like,
Five-
okay, do you
5
need
minutes,
it today?
by the way.
Yeah,
5 minutes.
yeah, just a few minutes earlier, boss. And he's like, okay, do you need it today? And he's like, no, I don't need to go home early on a Wednesday. And I'm thinking,
Yeah, again, it clearly
is the
means
girlfriend
something.
his wife? But then as well, you
Uh.
also get the kind of sequence later on when he's just had the very surreal whiskey experience, where he's like, it's a Wednesday, and she's like, but it's a Tuesday, and they ask a random man on the street, what day is it? And he goes, Monday, and she goes, but yesterday was Monday, and he goes,
So why did you ask?
It's so funny.
But it's like,
But then the next
Does this
shot
have
straight
meaning?
after it. The next shot straight after it. It doesn't show her turning back from him. Like
Mm.
it doesn't see. So you see her turn up to ask, and then he asks like that. But
Yeah.
it doesn't show her turning back. It just cuts back, and she's just immediately back on the wall. And it was like, was
Yeah.
that a flashback? What was that?
It was so strange, but I'm like, is the days of the week relevant here?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
I
Because
think
it's
the
like,
answer
why
is
does
no.
no one know the day? Like, why is
Yeah.
everyone so confused by what day of the week it is?
But it
Such
was
an
just that
unnecessary
one
sequence.
guy. That one guy. I wish the film was
So
about him
good.
instead. What a fucking legend. But
Then why'd you
yesterday was
ask?
Tuesday. Well, why'd you ask me then?
He was so angry.
Follow that D story. Just follow him the whole time. But yeah, you liked that final sequence with the bomb and the
Up
bomb
until the end of
defusal.
it, when it was
Until
like,
the end of it.
is that it?
I-
Yes.
I found it very boring.
It had
was
tension.
it was 20. I know it did have some tension, and
It-
you
it
could see
was-
what it was going for.
The reason
But
I
it
liked
was
it was 'cause
20
it
minutes
felt
long.
a little Hitchcockian in that tension building thing, and I was like, okay, I'm feeling this, and like I was getting sort of like Great Escape vibes as well, you know?
Yeah.
Like in the final sequence of the Great Escape, which by the way, the entire way through this, I was going, I wish I was watching the Great Escape.
Maybe let's just do that one film. One
Nathan
film
was-
club.
Nathan was hoping for Casablanca. He was like,
I
watching this,
was.
like, I wish this was Casablanca.
It would have been a better film.
If it was
No
Casablanca.
I mean, yeah.
This would have been a better film if it was
If it was
another film.
Casablanca. If you just put in Humphrey Bogart instead of whoever this guy is.
Yeah.
Whoever this fella is, yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry,
whoever you
dude.
are.
We're not as well on this podcast. The amount of times that we just Google stuff and look people up, we haven't
But we're
even given him
not.
that respect once.
Oh, go on, I'll do it. You guys talk amongst
I'm
yourselves.
sure he's
I'll
been in
find it.
plenty of things. Okay, so I'm gonna.
Small-
I mean, one of the biggest notes that I've got is just the Reeves gun is so shit. I don't know why
Yes.
everyone was. It was such a weird thing. Everyone just kept going on about how terrible it was.
yeah.
I thought it was something that was going to come up because I've written it down like 3 times before it gets dropped.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The
His name was David Farrer, by the way.
what else has he
right?
been in?
Cheers, David. Had a wonderful morning. Great way to spend a birthday.
Nothing that we've
Nothing
seen, I
apart
imagine.
from Small Back Room.
The son of Robin Hood.
Okay. Is it like Son of the
The
Mask?
300. He was in the 300 Spartans.
He was
Correct.
He was
The
Spartan
son of Robin
289.
Hood, where he steals from the poor to give to the rich.
Yeah.
Just a much sadder film.
So
yeah, there's
he
not
just
nothing
collects
really
taxes.
note.
Or it's
Hey?
just like, or it's just him as a kid, and it's just like just him just sat in his house all day like this. Like,
Wish my dad wasn't
and then
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood comes through the door. And he's like, "Dad, you're home." He's like, "Hey, son, what did you do today? Did you do the thing? Yeah, you stole from the yeah same thing again. Okay, well,
Cool.
that's cool. Can I come with you? No, okay, no. You
Yeah.
know, why
You
don't
just
you
go-
why don't
you just
you
go
why don't
upstairs.
you tell anyone you've got a son?
Marion would be pissed.
One of the weirdest. I'm just gonna completely
That's okay.
sideline that.
Yep. Reasonable.
It's all right. I was about to go on a way bigger tangent with the Little John thing and turn it into a
That's
Lil
okay.
John reference.
Little John.
Lil John.
Fuck's sake. Oh, it's good that nobody really listens to this.
Oh my God.
Go on,
one of
Nathan.
one of the again in a series of strange dialogue and strange scenes.
Mhm.
The bit where they go to see the guy who's been hit by the bomb. He's in the tent and he's dying.
Oh
And
my
he starts,
god!
He starts like shouting at him, and then like
and then he dies.
he's like he lies back and he's like, I think he's dead.
yeah.
All right. I also said,
That
could they
man got
not
that in my
find?
notes.
Could they not find an actual Welshman to play the Welsh doctor? It was one of the worst Welsh accents
It was so
wait,
I've ever
that's
seen.
what the doctor was supposed to be.
He was meant to be Welsh. Yeah.
He sounded German.
He
I
sounded
know.
everything. He
He
sounded
sounded
everything.
everything
It was
but Welsh.
mental.
But also the opening to that sequence is like, you have to go to Wales. Okay, I'll go to Wales. And then like, he has to climb across a river.
Yeah.
Like you're
For
gonna
no
put a guy with a
reason.
tin foot.
Yeah.
Well, it was also
Yeah,
such
rusty.
a spit
Doing
in
the
the face
Geordie
to
course.
anyone from Wales, because he's like, when he gets the
Yeah.
phone call, which he really doesn't want to take, he's just trying to get his dick wet. That's all he wants. He's been waiting
Yeah.
for so long just to shag whatever
Sue.
her fucking name is. Sue,
Sue.
Big Sue.
Sue, big fat Sue.
See friend.
And then he's like, I suppose I'll get the fucking phone. And then
Yeah. She's
a
like, what if
spit
it's
in the face-
Stuart?
a spit in the face to everyone from Wales. when he goes, he basically, I can't remember what the name of the town is, but he just sort of like puts it down.
Battle,
Where
I
is
think.
that?
Where the fuck is Wales?
Yeah. And then it's just like cuts to a train. Choo choo.
Yeah.
It was so weird because that whole sequence is essentially like them trying to find out information about the bomb. But it's like a 15-minute sequence of him going to a place, talking to a guy, and then fucking off.
Yeah.
That's
Finding
it.
out very little.
They could have phoned him up and
Did
been
you
like,
pick it up? Did you pick it up? Yes.
It
No,
reminded
you
me.
have to do the...
By the head of the body. Middle or end. Sir.
Because he does like the mouth movement
Yeah.
like 20 times before actually saying anything. He's like, yes.
I had two
Like a
two
poorly
things for
dubbed
that.
anime.
I had two things
Yes.
from that scene. It reminded me of the scene in Airplane when they're like, "Pull yourself together," and then they move on to the next person, and they're going like, "That's what it reminded me of." And then the second bit is the guy, the Welsh guy, simply cannot act. He's so
Yeah.
He's so
bad.
happy.
He's
He's
so
so happy
funny.
the whole time.
And then at the end of the scene, they clearly went, right, I need you to have like a little retrospective, like poignant moment where it's sort of you're like going thinking about the horrors of war and this poor young man's died. Which, by the way, they call him old man at some point, and then they cut to him and he's blatantly like 25.
They've
They
already
say it.
referenced
They
he's
say
19.
He's 19 and they call him Old Man.
Old man. Yeah.
Come on, old man.
it's-
Tell
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Tell me the
Maybe his
information.
name is Oldman.
Yeah.
That's where Charlie Brooker got the
Yeah,
name
yeah.
from.
That's his
Yeah.
seed.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they needed him to have this like retrospective, like the horrors of war. But then I don't know if it was improvised or just badly written because he's just like, oh no, oh boy, oh no. It's like, could you have not like done another take where you're a bit more sincere about this
It's
dead
one of-
guy in front of
It's
you?
one of the notes I've just found. I was like, why is this doctor so excited?
Right? He's like, oh no, I don't think he'll make it through the night. And that is
He
that's the
sounded-
accuracy of the accent as well.
Yeah.
He did
It's like,
sound German. I was
he's
so
been
confused.
blown up.
I was like, why have they got a German doctor?
Yeah,
I thought they were
that's what
fighting
I
the
thought.
Germans.
It was only when I sort of clocked, I was like, oh wait, they're supposed to be in Wales. This guy's supposed to be Welsh.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
It's fucking funny.
Okay, one of the other things I've got is the obviously for the times, but the amount of like misogynistic
Oh,
lines in
it's
this was
constant.
just
I've written down
ridiculous.
some
There we
to
go,
read
this
out
should
to
be
the
good.
audience.
Which
And I am going to be
we don't approve of.
paraphrasing.
No,
Yeah, no, we
clear.
don't. It's just to point out the ridiculousness in the film. Like, honestly, here we go. This is paraphrasing because I wrote it after I'd listened. Women only think about if they're living or dead, and being dead means they start to smell.
yeah.
Like, what?
What does that even mean?
I don't know. And then later on, it's like, girls like, you don't dance? Why don't you dance? Women, no.
Women
Men
are
and
all
women
the same
are all the same when they dance.
when they dance. Yeah,
What?
ridiculous.
What?
You just know it was written by a group of men who all went, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
yeah.
My
Isn't,
God,
isn't
you've
your
got
broad
it.
the same when she dances?
And I turn into her when I dance. It's,
You know what,
it's,
though? They fucking stink when they die.
It's crazy. It's something else.
I have got just going. I'm just looking through my notes just because they're very sporadic.
Yeah.
This is kind of going maybe off of that. So when the first time you actually see them kiss
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
in
weird
like there's like
spotlight.
a really close up. I can't. It's before they go to Wales because
Yeah.
it's before I've written about the doctor.
When they're about to do the do
But
on the
that bit.
couch.
Yes, it's before he gets the call. It's clearly stage acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they go in and like their mouths don't move. They like
Yeah.
press lips open
Yeah.
for like a couple of seconds and then pull away, still like in the same mouth open, and then back again. I'm like, oh my god!
But it's
why
got this
did you-
horrible, like, really bad that we did it better in Perplexity. La La Land
Oh, the light.
spotlight on them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they're so
yeah.
overexposed, so all you can just see is mouth holes. Like,
yeah,
Well, that's actually something I was going to say. Is the lighting in this film is odd. So,
It's
like,
very
especially in the
interesting.
club, it's like they've
It's
got two
spotlights.
spotlights, but like
Yeah.
with the barn doors closed like massively, and they just have like a slit, and I'm like,
Yeah.
is this kind of this is what we do at the moment to indicate
Yes.
we're in a low light setting, but we need to see the face.
It's
Yeah.
it's very classical Hollywood.
Yeah.
There's a lot, especially that you say it was just before the 50s, but in that kind of era of film, it was very high contrast, spotlight
Yeah.
kind of film.
Then they cut
making.
to a different angle, and they're just flooded in light.
Yeah,
Just
so,
for those close-ups.
so the thing is, so if you imagine how film lights were back then, you would have massive, really, really hot.
I was gonna say, yeah, the temperature of those things.
Yeah, like they are ridiculous. Like they're huge tungsten lights. They get really, really hot. So when you're doing like a big wide shot, you can just like, flood the whole thing with light because at the end of the day, no one's going to be near the light. But if you've got a spotlight or something, that thing gets fucking hot, right?
So,
if you have,
maybe they weren't actually doing
Let's just
stage
heat
acting
that
with the
bit.
kiss. They were just roasting alive under
Yeah.
that spotlight. They're
Oh
just
my
like,
God. Take 14. Action. You're so sweaty. You taste like salt.
You dumb broad.
It would fit so much in this film with
Oh,
just the
Sorry,
blatant
Nathan, carry
sexism.
on.
Yeah, continue. I apologize.
Yeah, so I mean, the only logical explanation I could think is if they did like proper like 3-point lighting, it would just be far too hot. So just having
Yeah.
one spotlight on them, just to light up their face at least. I mean, I think it was quite an interesting way of filming. I mean, it's quite prominent in, like I said, in that kind of era of cinema.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know in Casablanca they do a lot with lighting in that. In that
Casablanca,
kind
you
of
say?
way. Again, who would have thought talking about Casablanca?
Nathan? Wow. Who'd have
But
thought?
it is very prominent in that kind of classical Hollywood era of cinema
Yes.
to use that kind of lighting. And it is quite interesting. I thought when they did it in the club, I had noticed it quite a lot, but I did write it down about spotlights in the club, and I thought it was quite an interesting thing just because you're clearly focusing on them, even when there's like other stuff going on. You are just focusing on their faces, which is very important in terms of dialogue scenes to make sure that you are focusing on their faces. But that was about the only redeeming thing I could find in terms of like cinematography, apart from
Yeah.
like the few scenes that we had already talked about.
Yeah,
It's
they did,
quite boring.
They had quite a lot of like close-ups that were just thrown in for no fucking reason at all.
Yeah.
I put in that
Um,
classic close-up in a group for reactions.
Yeah.
Like in the debate about the Reeves gun, and he's
Yeah.
like, it's this whole tension. Like, is he gonna toe the party line, or is he gonna
Yeah.
go out on his own? And he goes, "No, I don't think the gun is good enough." And then it's just like face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only
God,
the
what?
only one close-up that meant anything to me, because there were just ones where they were like, should we just have a close-up of a coffee here? Yeah, cool. Because like, they were just
Or his
there it is.
leg hitting the bar.
Well, that's the
Hmm.
only one that made anything to me, because I obviously at that point you have no idea. I was like, because it cuts to his leg just going donk,
Bing, bing,
and then it cuts to her going. So I was like,
You're doing the leg thing again.
There's something up with the leg. So then
He
when they
already
were
said
back,
he's
when they
got
were
a tin
back at
leg.
his, yeah, I know, yeah, but like I was like, it's clearly like a thing
A
in their
thing.
relationship. Like it clearly matters because I think she just hates it because
Yeah.
she wants him to take it off for his own benefit. Like take out the leg, take off
Well,
the
she's got a
leg.
kink.
But
Take off the leg.
Ugh.
Take out the leg, spank me with the leg.
I hate you guys so much.
Yeah, the weird
Yeah.
image. It's like a Community with Chang with the with the
where he's
mannequin
in love
leg.
with the mannequin leg. Was I crazy, or was I the only one making sense? That's what watching this film is like. Is being
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Chang's mind.
It was
think.
so funny.
I mean,
'Cause
the
I was
other thing I wanted to mention in terms of character was, I mean, they were all just so toxic. One, him being just a terrible person. I mean, he's an alcoholic. That was kind of the thing. He's a troubled character. She was supposed to be this kind of, I don't know, the good person, like bringing him back, like don't.
Well, initially she
I was
was like the
thinking she was
smile and
supposed to be
make
don't drink
do.
the alcohol, but she was like, "Hey, do you want some whiskey?" And he's like, "No." And then 20 minutes later, "Do you want some whiskey?" No.
Yeah,
And then at the end of the film, do you want some whiskey? Yeah.
Yes!
And that's how it ends.
With him just continuing his
Yeah.
alcoholism.
Yeah.
Where he
The
is
happy ending
assumedly
we all want.
rots away. And
Yeah.
dies.
That's it.
He's so consumed by his alcoholism that he's being chased by a giant bottle in his nightmares. And
I mean-
she's like, "Do you want a whiskey?"
The only thing that was interesting from a storytelling point of view with that sort of storyline was like, I wrote it down. I was like, you've got that kind of sad irony that when he gives in to his alcoholism in that sequence, he's drinking the whiskey he had for V-Day,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
it's like that celebration of victory ended up being his biggest defeat, and I was like, that's quite poignant.
Yeah,
But then that was it.
it's
It was-
thrown away.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, there was one thing that I
So
thought
many
would be
lost
quite a
opportunity.
big, I don't know, like a big factor is when he gets the call, when he finally answers the call, when he has been drinking,
and he's
and he puts
hammered.
he puts his head under the sink and inadvertently pours the bottle down as well.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Oh, yeah, because it's not mentioned again.
Yeah,
He pours the whole bottle away. Like, he puts his head into the sink, and his hand reaches over with the bottle in, and it all goes down the sink.
yeah.
And then it's never
It's
mentioned.
probably just like a fucking accident, like he was supposed to do it.
But no, but it looked like he had, because his hand wasn't there, and then he brings it up. That's
Oh
why I
yeah, no,
noticed
I'm
and
sure
then he
it was.
started-
It's just this
and then
film, all the decisions in it, just you go, it has to have just been an accident. Why? Because
Yeah.
they can't just they drop everything.
everything.
Like,
But it would have
as well,
been such
he
a big
was
thing for him
so
to like.
drunk. He was acting so drunk. He was
Yeah.
like, "Let me just give me a second. Just give me a minute. I'll be. Hold on. Also, that lady who called him in the first place, who was like connecting the call, tried for so long. I'd be like, fuck it. He's
But
not there.
also
But
when
she
she
shouted it.
yeah,
Hello?
when-
It was like,
when-
"Hello?
when-
Are you there?"
But then he
but,
dunks
like,
his head under
over
the water.
and over again.
Yeah, but he dunks his head under the water. Gets back to the phone. He's like, "You all right, mate?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll be down. Don't worry about it."
Have you never used that technique before?
Nah, I've never
Dunk
dunked
your head
my head
under the
under a
water and-
sink.
Yeah,
In a
that's
sink.
it. You sound.
I've hit my head off a sink. Still doesn't work. You were there.
Wouldn't recommend.
No,
Yeah.
let's not go into that.
No,
But yeah,
that's a story that doesn't need to be aired.
I think it's one of those ones. I mean, we're at 55 minutes of recording here,
Which
and
is a
it's-
miracle, by the way.
Yeah.
I know, and I feel like we knew this would be short-ish.
Well, I
And it's like,
still have.
you
yeah,
kind of. You still have points, I'm
interesting
sure,
points.
but like
Yeah.
you kind of get to a point where you're like, I guess this film was just a bit incomplete.
Yeah, well, it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was made. This is how uninterested I was in the film. I looked up the budget whilst watching it, and then spent the time in the budget converting it into today's money. Like that's what I was doing while watching the film. I was calculating the exchange rate about how much this film would have costed if it was made today. So
And
it
how
was
much?
129k to make,
Right.
which rounded up is roughly like 4.5 mil. Which, for contrast, Gone with the Wind, obviously a huge film, but is the equivalent of 66 million. Now, there's quite a lot of locations in this film
Yeah.
They're in
for
Stonehenge.
for a low budget. Yeah, for a very low budget film,
Mm.
and I just can't help but think that that's where all the money went
Yeah.
on the sets that are very good and the locations because the
Yeah.
actors are dog shite and the script is A.
Well, how
Like,
much
it's
did it
all
make?
bad.
It
Oh, I
can't have
didn't
made
check
much.
that. I didn't see that, but
It made 129,000. What was the budget?
That was the budget.
it was
wasn't
129,000. I think
I'm reading
You
that's the
looking at-
box office.
that might have been what I read. Fuck.
They
Hang
made
on.
4 million.
Let's check the budget.
Oh no! Did I check the wrong thing?
That's how bored you were. You
This
couldn't even be
film
bothered to
just
read.
broke me. I read box office and went,
You know what,
that's
I'm
how
so
much
glad.
it costs.
I am so glad that you guys didn't like it as well. Like, if it would have been a great film, fair enough. But like, I was
Yeah.
like constantly looking at what time I was at,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like,
yeah.
oh my god, I'm only 20 minutes into this thing. Like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, it was-
Yeah,
it
I'm
was
not
a
seeing
wild
anything
ride.
about the. I can't see anything about the budget. That's the problem.
All right, fair game. Well,
the
either way,
information
it's
isn't there.
piece of dog shit.
I mean, if there's anything that we can take away from this, is, why don't we have hat rails anymore?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was crazy.
He was like walking along, he's like, "That's my seat." Just popped his
But
hat
also
on.
with the angle that it was on, it just looked like one pole. It didn't look like a railing to me. It just looked like
No,
one,
it was
like
just
like a coat hanger, like a coat rail. And I was like, he's balancing it on there. And I was like, oh no, it's specifically
It was-
designed for hat.
A hat
This is
rail.
it was BAFTA nominated
Well, yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
in 1950 for best
Wow.
British film.
Well,
Wow.
probably some shit British films around then.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
So
Yeah.
it was actually something I found quite interesting. It was also adapted into a radio show,
What?
kind of
Why?
like an audiobook, but it was an
Yeah,
hour
yeah.
and a half, similar to the film. I think it was released in like the 50s or something.
Yeah.
The reading of it is actually very good. I only listened to a few minutes of it because I didn't want to experience it again. But they explained straight away why he does like the hitting on his leg, and it's because when he hits his leg, it makes the pain go away.
Oh.
But they never explain that in the film. It's just like he hits it because like he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Like,
why
never
didn't they explain that
helps
he's
with the
like-
pain.
Yeah, he could have been like, "Oh, I don't take the drugs like because they don't help, but like hitting my leg helps me sometimes, but also drinking helps." Or like
Yeah.
whatever.
It's also just
no,
funny
it's-
of how words have changed, because to me every time when they talk about dope, they're clearly
Said
talking about
dope, yeah.
dopamine, but I'm just picturing him blazing a fatty.
The dope doesn't help with the foot, and it doesn't make it feel good. The drink
Why don't
doesn't
you
help
have
with the foot.
Why
But
don't
I
you
don't
have
care.
your dope, Sammy? The dope will make you feel better.
I
Okay.
ain't got enough Pringles for my job.
I
got
only
any
blaze it on
snacks.
Wednesday.
That's why I need the time off, you see.
And in that
Um,
kind of ethereal, surreal scene, he also shatters it's in like a vial, like a
Yes.
science
He
lesson
stamps on it.
Yeah.
vial with a stopper on it. He's like
That-
throws it.
that's
he's,
the
like,
start of
stamping
the
on his
sequence,
pills.
isn't it? With the whiskey dream. Because it was...
Yeah.
as soon as that happened, again, I was like, oh,
Mm.
interesting. Visually, this hasn't
could go
happened before.
somewhere.
Like,
Yeah.
some kind of different shot other than just, like, a wide or a medium or
Yeah.
close-up. Like, there's actually something different going on here. And then you suddenly go, hold on.
You even have that
Why is there a
silhouette with the
massive
tables
bottle of
like that,
whiskey?
and
Yeah.
he's just like,
And this is back to Max's point of having like big and little inspiration. Like you can take small points from this, and
Yeah.
apply it to something that is gonna be better, but you're still taking inspiration from it, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool. To be fair, for a pretty shit film, they have actually some good ideas in there.
Yeah. So I was interested, Alex, as someone that doesn't like classic films. Are there any that you do like?
that I can
Let's-
think of
Let's say like Wizard of Oz backwards.
backwards.
Like we'll cut it off at Wizard of Oz. Anything before it?
No.
No?
Not that I can think of. If you gave me something to say yes or no
Yeah.
to.
Well, that was what I was
Casablanca.
going to say, because that's the thing that makes me sad.
Haven't
Is
seen
the fact
Casablanca.
that
Yes.
this is going to put you off watching any classic films for like 5 years now.
No. If anything, kind of not the main thing. One of the things that puts me off is the hammy acting, and I was kind of pleasantly surprised
Yeah.
that it wasn't as
Yeah.
shocking as I had anticipated. So I mean, I'm not against trying some more out. I will watch Casablanca. I think we watched like a quarter of Casablanca when I was at Nathan's one time, waiting to go get the boat.
I was watching it for like the second or third time,
Yeah,
and you came in and you're like, "This looks bad," and I'm like, "It's not bad."
Yeah. but I sat and watched for a little bit and didn't have a great time.
You have to be invested in the story.
This Casablanca film looks shit. Someone put on What Happened to Monday, please.
Yes, please.
Someone put
I
on The
will
Greatest Showman.
I will probably. Hey, I don't mind that film. It's fun, and I like the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'll give you that. Some
We'll
of the
do La
songs
La
are good.
Land.
And you know why the songs are good, don't you?
Yeah.
Because Hugh
They're
Jackman
written
sings
by
them.
the same people that wrote Ben Platt
Dear
musical.
Evan Hansen.
Yes. So
Yeah.
and that so obvious. Once I found that out, I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, oh my god, of course it is. It
Once you
sounds
know,
so
you're
much
like,
like Dear
oh.
Evan Hansen.
It's the
yeah.
same. Yeah. I think
and
they also
again,
did
it's like-
Dogfight as well, which is an incredible
Oh,
musical.
I don't know it.
If you haven't listened to it, I would.
But I think I would rather watch The Greatest Showman than watch this again.
Oh, I could not watch this again. This is
No,
going like
I
straight
agree.
out my head after this podcast.
What
Yeah.
a forgettable movie.
In the bin.
Yeah.
In the bin.
Like, sorry to everyone who made this film, but like,
yeah.
you
They're
didn't
all
need
dead.
to.
It doesn't matter.
I thought you were going to say they're not
goners.
listening. But
they're
that,
not.
that too, I
No, they won't
suppose.
be. Yeah.
Because they're either dead or deaf.
Okay.
So they're not listening
What?
for sure. Because they're old. It was a shit joke. We'll move on from it.
I was making a deaf joke. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, God. How did I miss that?
What?
He was doing the...
What?
Pardon?
Oh, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Dickhead.
Sorry, everyone.
Classic British humour.
Hey.
But yeah, so there's like the thing that I really like about classical cinema is I feel like there's a lot of stuff like this that you'll watch and go, right, why do people? Because there's this expectation I feel that comes with like pre-1965 films that you have to say they're good, you know, because they're classic, and it's like a lot of it isn't. It's just the ones that are very good. Because there's a difference between respecting the craft of something. Because now bad films come out and you're like, this deserves no respect whatsoever. Whereas back then, making it a film full stop will have deserved respect because it was such like a hard craft to do.
Mm.
And then the ones that made really good films were,
That was
you know,
like hope.
but the thing that's interesting to me is they do stick with you. So Nathan loves Casablanca. My example is Rebecca, Hitchcock's and Rebecca. The first time I remember first time I watched Psycho, I was like, okay, it is good. It is really good. I would watch this again. But I didn't love it. And I love Rebecca. It's like it's the most un-Hitchcock film because he made it in very much under the studio's management, which he never ever did. And it's very it's got Olivier in it. It's very performative.
Yeah.
But it's such a good story and it's so well told and I love it so much. So I could rewatch that so many times. But this
No,
it's
not
almost
this.
like a nostalgia thing, isn't it? Because it's almost like when people say like, "Oh, music was so much better,
yeah,
80s, 70s, whatever decade it is," but you don't remember the bad ones.
yeah, exactly.
Like when you talk about classical cinema, you're gonna remember things like Hitchcock films. You're not gonna remember The Small Back Room, right?
Yeah.
no.
And it's
Yeah.
the same with now. It's like people are like, oh, well, films and music are so bad now. But it's like, well, that's because you're actively listening and watching it, right? You're watching it now.
Exactly.
And you're only remembering, like, oh, there's bad films. But if you look back even 10 years ago, like, I'm sure we were like, oh, there are films so bad now. When
Yeah.
you look at films that came out 10 years ago, you don't
There are some
remember
good
any
ones.
of the bad ones. You just remember the things that like, the ones you remember are the good ones.
Yeah.
Unless you had a particularly bad experience with
Also,
a film. And like,
Can I just say, if you are, I was speaking to you directly now, if you are one of those people that this was a phase, like 2012 time, when on the internet people were going, I was born in the wrong era. People still do it.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you now, you are an idiot if you're doing that still. Fuck you. You get to listen to music from any time. You don't have to be like, oh, I can only listen to music I was born in that time. You just listen to anything. It doesn't matter. You don't have
or
to.
it's like, I have to
just
go
like
to a
that.
record shop
We've
Yeah.
buy
gone from-
one album
Yeah.
instead of listening
and also,
to
by the
every
way,
album.
you could only say that because you are white. Because anyone else, no, fuck that. Miserable time to be alive. If you're a white man, you can go, yeah. If anything, we'd have had a better time back then.
And
Yeah.
now we've dropped from 5 listeners
To 0.
to 0.
It's just it's so silly to me. It's like just enjoy
Yeah.
what you want to enjoy.
I
Like,
wish I was alive in the 50s.
I mean, it would
Why?
be cool
Pretty
for a
rough
few
time.
weeks.
What a
right?
horrible
people.
You'd be
time.
like, you'd go and see like Hollywood in its heyday, and then probably want to leave again because
Yeah.
Immediately.
you got no phone signal, right? Like,
the-
there's
It's a
it was
horror show.
shit.
The
Yeah.
amazing thing about now is like, because everyone always says it about the music thing. I guarantee all of the people that have said that, and I was probably one of those people in 2012, but I was a teenager, so I was fucking stupid. So the thing is, it's like you're still gonna listen to contemporary music though. You can't just lie
Yeah.
and only listen to music from
Romanticizing
because
the
I
past.
would be going like, oh, I wish I was like a 80s rock kid, but I was listening to like Nirvana more than anything. So if I was born in that generation, I wouldn't be experiencing Nirvana yet.
I
So
was just about to say,
now-
like,
It's like you can listen to things from different points of time, and it's great.
It was always the Nirvana thing. It was like, oh, I would have gone to go to a Nirvana concert. It's like, but there's so much good music now. Just like you can
and
enjoy
you can
both.
listen to Nirvana.
Yeah.
And also, I watched the Foo Fighters at Leeds Festival, and they were fucking amazing.
Mm.
Like, you wouldn't get to see that if you were born then. You'd just watch him behind the drums. Granted, it would probably be fucking awesome. But, it's like...
What a weird
that defeats the
tangent
purpose
for
of
this
point.
podcast.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah!
We're doing a podcast.
And we're back.
Oh, I'd nearly forgotten about that.
No. We didn't do it last episode.
I think
didn't
we
have
did.
one.
I think you did a...
I said it, but I cut it because it was stupid.
Yeah.
And then I said it again, but you said no, Nathan did it earlier, and I was watching it back through and went, did he?
I didn't. Because I cut it out for some reason. Oh, it's because your internet had gone weird, and I was like, I don't know how to edit that.
Fair enough. So cut it out.
Yeah.
I think a nice way to kind of round things off is last week for Mulholland Drive, I said, if you want to be happy, don't watch this film. And I think for this week, same
The same.
thing,
Yeah.
really.
If you want to be happy, watch Mulholland Drive instead of this film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, right. Well, let's
watch
do the same thing we did with Mulholland Drive then. We'll each give it out of 10.
I'll let Max.
No higher than a 4. Maybe a 3.5.
I was gonna say a 4.
Yeah. I was thinking around a 3 or a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will never, until the day I die, forget the image of the guy with the bottle coming towards him, and he's like, "Oh my god!" I was laughing out loud. Like, it's so good. So for that alone, that gets 2 stars from me.
Right. Excellent. So, I mean, next week
Great.
it is Max's turn to pick a film that none of us have watched, including himself, which will
Do
be
you
an
have
absolute
one?
nightmare.
No, it won't. Like, there's so many films. I've not seen The Godfather.
Oh, don't pick that. Well,
I'm not going
I've seen
to.
it. I've seen it, so you
Yeah,
get
I'm
it.
not. I'm not going to. But
I was going to say, do you have a...
It's
do
my,
you have one?
It's my vice.
Or...
I have a few in mind, but the problem is with, and I'm going to give Alex some shit here, but to be fair, we're all guilty of it as well at the same time. It's finding one that's accessible. So I wanted to do City of God. I really
Seen
wanted
it.
to do City of God. Oh, okay. Well, I thought no one would have. But and
Sorry.
then
What we think.
Cinema Paradiso. I've wanted to watch for years, and that's not on anywhere. So I will work it out. I will find something. And it will not be a piece of shit. It will be at the very least watchable. So
And
piece of
almost
cinema
definitely
history.
wanky.
not almost definitely. One of my favorite films is The Boat That Rocked.
Okay.
It's not exactly.
I mean, I don't think it can get any... I don't think we could go any more artsy than Mulholland Drive. Unless you're going to pick something
I
like
hope
from...
not.
like
bring it
French,
fucking on.
like some French New Wave film or something.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like the only ones I know that are like that I've seen, so I can't pick them. Because I do have one that I want to show you and just see your reaction to it. But I've seen it and I don't know if I can pick it.
What's
but
it
it'd be a
called?
great
Just
one.
a free time watch.
It's called Belleville Rendezvous. It's a French surrealist animation film. I
Right.
really love it, but it's one of those again, like with Mulholland Drive. I'm like, Alex will hate this.
I think if we're looking at films we'll hate, I think that one. How have I forgotten his name? Fucking guy who made Star Wars. Fuck me. No, not Star Wars. The
George
other one.
Lucas,
Lord of the Rings.
Peter Jackson.
Yes, that
yeah,
one that I
his
showed you.
his early
that
stuff.
he made
Yeah, when he did
looks-
his horror stuff.
It looked god awful.
Yeah.
Oh
But
my god.
they were deliberately, weren't they? It was like I can't remember what the genre was called, but it was like
It's
a
so easy.
deliberate, like grungy type horror movie.
It is so easy to say I did it on purpose after the fact. It was a bad fucking film.
True, but I feel like it's like punk. You know what I mean? Like it's shit, but it's shit for a reason.
Sure. Okay, Peter. Sure thing. Come do Lord of the Rings then, yeah?
I do actually look like him today, don't I? With the glasses and the beard.
You're not far off, in fairness.
Check
Can we just say that? Can we just say that about our films now? They were
Yeah,
supposed to.
they
be
were bad on
They were supposed
purpose.
to be bad.
It was to elicit
Did
a
it for a
reaction.
reason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
Maybe that's what this film was.
yeah,
My God. We
that's
cracked
what
it.
this was.
What a statement!
Yeah, this film was bad, but on purpose.
it on
Yeah.
purpose. Small
So if,
backroom being bad
as
since
we
whenever it
we
was
like to
made.
do every film we watch and every episode we do a nice message to take away from it. This one is if your lover is struggling with alcohol addiction, just enable it
Just
Enable
keep giving
it.
him whiskey.
Yep.
and moan about the leg constantly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do. And don't
Yep.
forget to take your dope.
But
And
don't
don't forget
take
to
it.
take your dope.
You don't have to take it.
Yeah.
It's advised, but you don't have to. Just drink the whiskey. It's fine. Drink that.
So,
Drink-
on
drink
to
that
the
fucking
plugs. I did this last week. Max usually does it.
I mean,
Nathan?
I quite like the UK plugs because they've got like the 3 prongs instead
Right.
of the 2.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of the European input with when it's circular and it fits a bit like
Yeah.
awkwardly. You know what I mean?
And the
Well, I
English one is
suppose-
actually it's got a safety mechanism. Like when you push the top one in, it doesn't actually like make contact with any metal until it gets past that plastic sleeve, and
Yeah,
you just can't
yeah.
electrocute yourself.
Instagram, Facebook.
Aren't they
TikTok.
weird though?
Twitter,
Like when you get those
at
plugs with
Glassline
the top
Media.
one, they bend in.
Have a great night.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's really
bizarre.
good safe space. Like you can save a lot of space by just like folding it in, and you don't have to worry about a
Yeah.
plug. Is he leaving?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh. So anyway, my other favorite book.